So I wanted to take a minute and explain this reverse concept mapping assignment we have for class. As far as this stuff goes through, there really isn't a form for it per se. What we're simply doing is a reverse of what you normally do. So what I want you to do with your paper is you can just start by writing up the top of something, just context for study. And to give you a little bit of background on what we're doing here is in our lit review and our introduction, we need to start from very broad topics and work our way down now into the specifics that become our study. So now we're going to kind of work to create those variables, for lack of a better term, coming out. So you start with your PICO question in the middle. And for this one, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to upload this as well. I'm going to do what I did for my thesis as well as does taking the impact test in a group differ outcomes than taking individually. And in all reality, that's not as well written as I'd like, but it works for this standpoint. You can just put that in the middle of your paper, circle it, wherever you go through. Then what you're going to do is we need to come up with at least 3 levels, this being level 1, so 2 more levels where this is the context for. And so like I said, I'm uploading just a shot of what I did on paper. And so you can look at that, but I'll kind of talk about this first. So for the first part, what is this a part of? So the first one that I identified is pretty obvious. This is concussion assessment. And so you can see the idea here is concussion assessment is bigger than this. This is my PICO question is a part of overall concussion assessment. There would obviously be other parts of concussion assessment, and we don't want to go smaller in this. We want to continue to go bigger. So like from there, concussion assessment is also a part of injury assessment. It's a part of emergency management. Right? And it's a part of differential diagnosis. So again, looking at this, each one should be bigger moving to smaller. So you can see how injury assessment, a part of injury assessment would be assessing for concussions. Emergency management, part of emergency management would be assessing for concussions. Part of differential diagnosis would be assessing for concussions. And so we're going to look to try to get 20 of these. So this would be 1, this would be 2, this would be 3. Okay, and we're going to look to get 20 in the different aspects. So we might go through and say that the next one in this would be that this is a part of head injuries. Right? Part of talking about this is knowing about the head injuries and that aspect. Within head injuries, we need to understand brain performance. Right? That when we talk about brain performance, with that, part of brain performance will be what happens when the head gets injured. At the same point, we need to talk about, or we would look at neurological injuries. Part of neurological injuries are now head injuries. Okay? And then one more, and I'm just doing 3 here, just for aspect, it doesn't have to be. 3, but 3 seems to be a good number to at least get to for each one. So for each one of these, probably should try to get 3. For each one of this here, try to get 3 at least. There might be more, but at least get to 3. So here's traumatic injuries. So now we are at 4, 5, and 6, right? Trying to get to 20. Now I've uploaded this piece of paper here, and I'll just show it to the camera so you can kind of see what I'm looking at, right? As far as that goes. And that's uploaded there to look at. Once we have the second part of the assignment, once we get to 20, is we want to try to identify between 3 to 5, much more than 5 and you're getting too big. Really, 3, I think, is the magic number of things that come up more than once. So if you look at that entire aspect of that sheet, the 3 variables, and so on the back of the sheet or at the bottom or somewhere else, you're just going to identify now your 3 variables that you're going through. And the 3 that I identified that came up most of the time, the first one was brain function. And so understanding brain function is going to be really important as part of understanding now my study. The same thing that came up another time would be injury evaluation. If you look at the entire reverse concept map that's on there as well, ideas of injury evaluation and different components come up multiple times. And then third is attention. You see a couple of different times where attention comes up, and so we're going to put that, and those are going to be our 3 variables. All right, hope that helps.